The day I found out I was pregnant, I immediately bought abortion pills. Just as I was about to take them, I heard my son's thoughts from my womb. Mom, don't abort me. I can help you make a fortune. My dad is a super rich tycoon who loves nothing more than chasing after women and being a devoted follower. I keep pursuing girls who are similar to my white moonlight and equally stubborn, showering them with endless gifts, only to have them disdainfully tossed into the trash. And I know exactly where those trash cans are. I convinced myself I had gone mad, hurriedly swallowing the pills with water, hundreds of grams of gold, the latest smartphone, jewelry worth millions, and I gagged and spat the pills that had reached my throat into the trash can by my feet, where, tell me now, wait a minute, I suddenly snapped back to reality. Since your dad is a super rich tycoon, why don't I just say I'm pregnant with his child? Wouldn't that be reaping the benefits without lifting a finger? My son laughed at my foolishness. My dad is a super rich man. Does he lack women around him? Stop watching those unrealistic short dramas where the domineering CEO falls in love with you. If you go over there now, pregnant, how can you prove it's definitely his? With just a little trick, I could be gone. Who knows? They might even label you as a gold digger and quietly get rid of you. So, we just need to take advantage of the situation to skim a little profit, and then we can rest easy. Mom, you need to learn to be content. The world of the wealthy isn't so easy to navigate. I nodded vigorously. Maybe my old son has been through this before, and this is a new account specifically to remind me, even if I really make it into the wealthy circle, having money but no life to spend it is still not as good as having a life. Alright, I'll listen to you. I rubbed my hands together excitedly, ready to achieve financial freedom and reach the peak of life by picking up trash. To prove his authenticity, my son specifically told me a location. I rode a shared bike and pedaled for an hour, finally arriving at the trash can in front of a mansion. Lifting the lid of the trash can, my eyes lit up. Truly a wealthy person. Even their trash can smells nice. There wasn't much messy garbage inside. Most of it was various gift boxes. I pulled a burlap sack from my chest. 2 whole sacks were filled with a clatter, tied them with rope onto the cart, and after huffing and puffing my way out of the luxury neighborhood, I finally managed to hail a taxi to haul it all home. Once home, I couldn't wait to start unwrapping the gift boxes. Hermes ties, Parisian suits, Chanel watches, Dior. After sorting through everything, I realized they were all men's belongings. Hiss, son, your father's first love is a man. The eldest son laughed heartily. Mom, don't get the wrong idea. Dad's first love is definitely a woman. These are all gifts that wealthy businessmen wanted to give to my dad to get to know him, but he threw them away. He is an ultra-wealthy man, for whom anything that can be bought with money holds no novelty. During this time, many other women tried to pursue him, but the gifts they sent as his wife would end up in the trash outside his door after a while, every now and then. You can go pick up some trash. Hearing this, I couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. You are truly my lucky star, my dear son. After tidying up, I opened the second-hand platform app and listed everything for sale at half price, brand new. It was just too cheap, and on top of that, it was practically like new, sold out in less than 20 minutes. Originally, there were only 300 left in the bank card. Now I have 10 million directly. I shook my head in amazement. These expensive items are really worth it. Even second-hand ones are snatched up. The quality is indeed quite good. My son lounged leisurely in my belly. Of course, that's my dad. When he gives gifts, the minimum is $1 million to start with. If he gave something too cheap and word got out, it would be extremely embarrassing. These people care most about their reputation. Pack and ship, just in case. I listened to my son and used a fake address for the shipping. I recorded the entire process on video to ensure authenticity, and upon arrival, they could inspect it as they pleased. It was absolutely genuine. After it was all over, I made a special trip to a physical store and bought the 20,000 yuan laptop I'd been eyeing for years. At the moment of checkout, my vanity reached an unprecedented height. A poor man suddenly becomes rich. I returned home, clutching my laptop, and cried out loud, "My son. Do you know how your mother has endured all these years of hardship? Woo, why didn't you come sooner?" I wailed for over half an hour, only to be stopped by my son's single sentence. "If you keep crying, I won't let you pick up trash anymore." No way. Picking up trash is my life's mission. I wiped away my tears and started searching online for information about the billionaire. There was very little. There's hardly any useful information at all. That's true. The super rich are usually quite discreet. "Son, do you know what your dad looks like?" Is he handsome? I don't know. Probably quite handsome. You've slept with him, don't you know? I scratched my head, feeling a bit embarrassed. I was drunk at the time, and when I woke up, I found myself stark naked with a man lying next to me. I was so scared my soul nearly left my body. I didn't have the mood to see what he looked like, but he had a great figure. Hee hee, Mom, wipe your drool. I quickly grabbed a tissue to wipe the drool. My heart stirred with restless excitement. Maybe I really shouldn't. What if I could become a wealthy man's wife? With such a great figure, he must be good looking. I must have some advantages over other women when it comes to carrying a child, right? But my son's words snapped me back to reality in an instant. Put away your vanity, unless you want to die, all right. I reluctantly suppressed the foolish urge to become a wealthy man's wife. Carrying 10 million in my arms, no, it's 9,980,000. In the past, I wouldn't have dared to dream of such a thing. I caressed my flat belly, smiling as I browsed Taobao and Pinduoduo. See it and buy it. It only cost 100,000 to clear out the shopping cart. So satisfying. This life is so thrilling that I dare not sleep, afraid that upon waking, it would all turn out to be a fleeting dream. Just eating and sleeping, sleeping and eating. After nearly a week of aimless days, my quiet son suddenly spoke up. Hurry, it's Christmas Eve, Dad's making his move. I followed the address my son gave me, huffing and puffing as I rode a shared electric scooter. I decided I must get a driver's license and buy a car, otherwise, even if I could manage to take the trash back, though a sack might fool people, doing it too often would surely lead to running into someone familiar. Car insurance. I bought some wolf-tooth potatoes and squatted across the street, eating while keeping an eye on the luxurious restaurant opposite. Truly a five-star hotel. Even the facade is so extravagant. Is this facade made of gold? It looks like it could be pried off. Mom, calm down, Dad's right inside. When the girl comes out later, you quietly follow her. As soon as she throws it away, you quickly pick it up. I thought to myself, son, maybe I should just bring a sack and go through all the trash cans on this street. It's Christmas Eve right now, so there must be plenty of other people throwing out good trash too. Those things aren't worth much. What my dad gave me is jewelry worth tens of millions. Just one piece could sell for several million on the second-hand market. Those broken phones and cheap gold trinkets, all put together, aren't worth as much as this jewelry, though it made sense. Something still felt off. The girl came out shortly after, without a man by my side. I listened to my son and followed from a distance. I watched as the girl threw the items into the trash can. I immediately rushed over to rummage through the garbage. Just as I picked the gift box out of the trash can, another hand reached out to snatch it. I protectively pulled my hand back, but the other person still managed to grab hold of it. He frowned, trying to yank it away with force. And I glared at him even more fiercely. Let go, I saw it first, so it's mine. The sky was dim, and there was hardly anyone around. I had heard before that some people specifically wait for holidays like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. They rummage through trash bins to make money by collecting garbage. Other trash is one thing, but this is a necklace worth tens of millions. Gritting my teeth, I didn't wait for the other person to speak and bit down on their arm. As soon as the other person let go in pain, I immediately ran in the opposite direction, hopped on my shared electric scooter, and sped away. You think you can snatch it from me? Not a chance. Humph. Is your mom awesome or what? Awesome, awesome, I don't know why, but I always feel like my son is a bit absent-minded, but I was quickly drawn in by the men and women holding bouquets. I've heard before about people finding phones, and people finding gold. Why not give it a try? I put on my mask and threatened my son to tell me which trash can had things worth picking up. I picked up 3 of the latest model phones, several rings, including but not limited to diamond rings, gold rings, platinum rings, and even a fake one, which made me so angry I threw it right back into the trash. Ugh, what a scumbag, using a fake ring to propose. I also picked up a bunch of other random stuff. Looking at the wealth I had brought back, I slept holding them at night. My dreams were all about getting rich. When the police knocked on my door the next day, I finally understood why my son had told me not to pick up those things. I sat in the police station giving my statement. Hand over everything you picked up last night. Also wrote a 1,000-word self-criticism, promising to always turn in found items to the police in the future, of course, except for that necklace. The more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I kicked the stone at my feet with force. Bang! The pain made me clutch my foot and cry out. I squatted down, feeling utterly helpless and on the verge of tears. I worked so hard to gather these. Why do I have to give them back? Woo-woo, my son, for once, didn't retort but comforted me instead. Mom, you shouldn't touch the money of the poor. What does it mean when a gift is thrown away? I choked up. What does it mean? This explains that the woman doesn't like the man, yet the man forces his gifts on her. When he finds out they've been thrown away, naturally he wants to retrieve them. Whoever is caught on camera picking them up is in for trouble. My dad is different. He's a wealthy man, money is no object to him. The things he gives away are worth millions or tens of millions. If they're thrown out, he doesn't care. I was feeling down. He continued to comfort me. What you've lost adds up to less than 50,000. But last night you found my dad's necklace. That's worth over 10 million. I wiped away my tears and was once again the confident mother of my little one. That's over 10 million. After all, the moment I got home, I searched for the original price of this necklace. When I saw the original price of 13 million, I gasped in shock. I hopped around on the spot for a long time, clutching the necklace box. My son screamed inside my belly. Ah, Mom, be careful, be careful. Don't bounce me away. I quickly calmed down. The unpleasantness at the police station this morning vanished into thin air. Awesome, I put on a mask and went to the place where luxury goods are resold, sold at a 20% discount. The other party conducted a careful inspection and confirmed it was genuine. Goods were handed over, and money was received in return. I turned around and bought the latest foldable phone myself. Trifold, no matter how you fold it. It's impressive. Take it away if you want. I can still buy my own. For a long time after that, I followed my son's hints, wandering around trash bins in various places, collecting garbage. The bank cards all became VIP ladies. The clothes on my body were replaced with good fabric. I got my driver's license and bought a mini car. I signed up for yoga classes, found hobbies, and spent my free time enjoying my amateur interests. I hired a professional nutritionist to take care of my 3 meals a day. A nanny with a monthly salary of 30,000 takes care of my daily needs. I bought a small villa, fully furnished, and moved in right away. I've completely achieved financial freedom by collecting trash. As my belly grew bigger day by day, my son's voice grew increasingly excited. I'm about to come out. I'm so happy. I was lying on the balcony sunbathing when suddenly I became very curious. Son, are you a reincarnated soul? Yes, in your previous life. You heard the inner voice and rushed off anxiously to prove it to Dad. Your father may have accepted you, but life in a wealthy family is extremely tough. Plus, he's very dissatisfied with you. Even after you gave birth, he paid you no attention. Though the family has money, you can't spend a penny of it, and outsiders don't even know you're the lady of the house. You have no status, no recognition. Your life is truly pitiful. As for me, I'm the unwelcome illegitimate child. So in this lifetime, let's stay far away from wealthy families and live a happy life. My heart ached for her, turned sideways. Let the sunlight fully bathe my belly. All right, I'll listen to my son. Now that I have enough money, I plan to leave once my son is born and able to walk. I have a side business. Picking up trash isn't a job you can do forever. If I keep showing up at people's doorsteps, I'll get caught sooner or later. It wouldn't be good if they got angry and made me cough up all the money I'd earned before, but my son told me not to worry about these things. Son, I didn't live my previous life in vain. I've learned everything I needed to learn. I'll handle the business venture. You just relax and enjoy yourself. I was moved to tears. I really have a lucky star baby. Although I say all this, I certainly can't really let a child handle such busy matters. To ensure my son is born healthy and quickly. Just before giving birth, I specially hired a childbirth expert. Following her steps, I exercised daily and controlled my son's weight. On the day of delivery, we mother and son worked together, and the smooth birth was completed quickly in just half an hour. After crying, I carried my son back to the private ward, where he babbled for a long time. Seeing that I didn't respond, he gave up. I blinked and finally realized what was happening. Son, I can't hear your thoughts anymore. He babbled a couple of times, struggling to control his little hand to pat his belly. I understand. Hungry, I immediately rushed to make formula and feed him. I never expected to give birth to a competitive son who practices early and practices late, while other children roll over at 3 months, sit at 6, and crawl at 9. He was already walking steadily at 9 months and actively learning kindergarten knowledge. By the time he started kindergarten, he had already mastered the knowledge points of the 6th grade in elementary school, skipping grades directly. At 3 years old, I entered the 5th grade of elementary school. I was hailed as a child prodigy. One day, I returned home from shopping and found a strange man in the house. This man looked 80% like my son. My internal alarm bells are ringing. I cautiously observe the unfamiliar man. I only feel a tiny bit of familiarity. I searched my memory for a long time but couldn't figure out where I've seen him before. Later, it was concluded that he looked familiar because he resembled his son. The son sat upright across from the man. His expression was indifferent, despite being only 3 years old. He already showed the outline of exceptional handsomeness. From the moment my son was born, I could tell he was definitely going to be a handsome man. He was born with a high nose bridge, pink lips, slender fingers, and his limbs were perfectly proportioned, to say the least. It's just that he always acts so mature and serious. After all, he has been reborn once, so it's only natural that he carries the maturity of an extra lifetime. But at this moment, I noticed that my son's face and demeanor were almost identical to those of the stranger. Even their sitting postures were similar, though the stranger appeared more natural. While my son seemed to be mimicking an adult, as children often do, I stood nearby. Not daring to make a sound, my son glanced at me, then coldly swept his gaze over the man before him. "What are you doing here?" The man's posture grew even more languid, his entire being exuding a noble air that seemed to emanate from his very bones. "To bring you back to your roots." My heart skipped a beat. Does that mean the events of my past life are about to repeat themselves? I immediately rushed over and stood in front of my son, blocking him. "No, absolutely not. I absolutely will not allow you to take my son away. Besides, there's no paternity test. No blood test. How can you be sure this is your son? You must be mistaken. Please leave now, and I won't hold it against you." The man raised an eyebrow leisurely, with faces as similar as ours. "How could he not be my son? Back then, you slept with me. Don't you think you should take responsibility?" I gave a start. Responsible for what? In my past life, I was responsible for losing my life. In this life, I'd rather die than marry into a wealthy family. I forced myself to stay calm, determined to set an example for my son. "Sir, we've never met before. You can't just take my son because you look alike." He narrowed his eyes dangerously, scrutinizing me. "Are you sure he's not my son?" An overwhelming sense of authority washed over me, and I felt I was about to buckle under the pressure. The pressure from the wealthy family is truly overwhelming. I swallow hard. My son remains calm and collected, patting me with his chubby little hand. "Mom, I'll handle this." I immediately felt at ease. My son has always been a man of his own mind, and a real go-getter. Don't let his age fool you. He's already quite skilled at playing the stock market. I just lie back and watch the money roll in. I nodded fiercely. "If you don't want to, Mom will always stand by your side, and I'll protect you even if it costs me my life." He smiled, turning to look at the man's cold face. "Why did you come?" The man said calmly, "My name is Qin Yunshen, the current behind-the-scenes head of the Qin Group. The Qin family is the undisputed wealthiest, with assets exceeding trillions. You earn hundreds of millions per second. Even if you were to squander it, you couldn't run through it in 3 lifetimes. As for me, I'm 38 and still have no heir. You look like me and are so clever. I'm convinced you're my son." Our Qin family would never allow Qin blood to remain outside as an illegitimate child. Hearing that the assets couldn't be squandered in 3 lifetimes, my heart shamelessly stirred. But hearing that my son could enter a wealthy family, I immediately forced my heart not to waver. "My son is the most important. Money and wealth are all illusions." The son said coldly, "I am a bastard now. Once it's made public, it will affect the reputation of your Qin family. Without a paternity test at this moment, I'm just a prodigy who happens to look like you. If you really need to, you can recognize me as your godson because of my intelligence. Just ensure the safety of my mother and me. As for acknowledging my roots, let's forget about it." In my heart, I cheered and encouraged my son, rallying for him. Upon hearing the refusal, Qin Yunshen showed no surprise in his eyes. Instead, his admiration grew. "I've looked into it. Your mother and I had a one-time encounter at a bar. Later, when I was picking up trash, I ran into her again. Every time she went to the hospital for a checkup, I could find out the results." My son interrupted coldly. "What are you trying to say?" He looked at me with a smile in his eyes. "I've known about you and your son all along. Back then, I thought Li Zhao would use the child to threaten me. But I never expected her not to come looking for me after giving birth. It seems Li Zhao isn't that kind of vain woman. I can accept her as my wife." My heart inexplicably began to soar. "Don't blame me. It's just that Qin Yunshen is an excessively handsome man. His eyes aren't pure black, but a light brown, with fox-like eyes. When he looks at me, they curve slightly, revealing a hint of amusement in his gaze, coupled with this devastatingly handsome face. The impact of beauty, who can resist it? It's like the person you like smiling at you with that affectionate gaze they'd even give to a dog. My heart started pounding. Suddenly, all those male celebrities seemed utterly unimpressive. Whenever Qin Yunshen's face appeared, he was undoubtedly the most handsome man in the Chinese entertainment industry. But I'm on my son's side. I quickly lowered my head and kept silent. My son glanced at me and chuckled lightly. "You're just looking for a decoration you can play with as you please." His words jolted me out of my wandering thoughts. I almost forgot. My son once said my previous life was utterly miserable. Hearing this, I straightened my back, determined never to be captivated by his beauty again. Then I looked up, beauty overload. My mind began to grow hazy. The last shred of reason made me lower my head. Barely snapping back to reality, my son's voice was cold and detached. "Since you've investigated us, you must have monitored my mother when she was pregnant with me. Then there's no need to say much more. We won't be entering your home. Just pretend we don't exist. We'll live our own lives. Mr. Qin, you can leave now. I have school this afternoon." Such mature words spoken in a childish voice created a stark contrast. Qin Yunshen found himself growing increasingly fond of the little one before him. I've said it before. The Qin family bloodline cannot be left outside. The little one stood up from the sofa, slightly tilting his head to look at Qin Yunshen across from him. He neither humbled himself nor showed arrogance. No one said anything, so who would know I am of the Qin family bloodline? Once I go in, no matter what happens to my mother or if she gets bullied, you won't care at all. As for me, even if I'm tormented, you won't pay any attention. You only love yourself. But it's because I'm clever and attracted you, making you think there's something to gain, but we don't care for it. We can earn money ourselves. Though we may not earn as much as you, we are content. Please leave, Mr. Qin, or I will call the police and report you for trespassing." Qin Yunshen slightly furrowed his brows, relaxed his crossed long legs, stood up with his hands in his pockets, and turned to leave. Only after Qin Yunshen left did his son let out a sigh of relief. He looked at me seriously. "Mom, no matter what tricks he pulls, don't fall for them. We cannot enter this wealthy family." Upon hearing this, I nodded vigorously. I always listened to my son's words. After sending my son to school, I watched him enter the campus. He's only 3 years old, and his height is very short compared to the elementary school students. A dedicated teacher escorted him into the classroom, so I felt very reassured. I turned my head and noticed a familiar gaze falling upon me. Instinctively, I wanted to run. He took a long stride and blocked my path. He wore a mask and a hat, fully covered. Only a pair of highly recognizable eyes were visible. "Mr. Qin, blocking me is pointless." I listened to my son. Qin Yunshen raised an eyebrow. "Talk." "I don't want to." No matter how I tried to run, he blocked me completely. I'm not as clever or eloquent as my son. I could only follow him to the coffee shop across from the school he was treating, so I ordered the most expensive item. I elegantly took a sip of the most expensive coffee. It was indeed quite good. Since I stopped being a workhorse, I've rarely drunk coffee. When I'm tired, I sleep. When I wake up, I play. Who needs coffee to stay alert anymore? Putting down the coffee cup, I try to maintain my elegance. In the past 3 years, my overachieving son has planned various schedules for me. He made me follow his intense routine, which has cultivated my posture to be elegant at all times. Even as Qin Yunshen in front of me stares directly at me, "Mr. Qin, what would you like to say?" Qin Yunshen withdrew his gaze that had been sizing me up. "Was it you who picked up the trash in front of my door before?" My heart tightened, but I maintained my composure. "What are you talking about, Mr. Qin? I don't understand." I played dumb and blinked. A faint curve lifted at the corner of Qin Yunshen's lips. "I have surveillance there. You weren't wearing a mask at first, and later you wore one. But it didn't really help. 300 taels of silver are not buried here." I continued to play dumb, blinking at him. "I don't understand what Mr. Qin is saying." He raised an eyebrow slightly. "Liars tend to blink frequently." I immediately stopped blinking and just stared at him. He chuckled lightly. His laughter sounded so pleasant, especially the moment it spilled from between his lips. The trailing note carried a hint of seduction. "Selling these second-hand items for profit is considered illegal acquisition of money, and I have evidence. I could sue you for tax evasion because you haven't paid your personal income tax." My face was covered in question marks. How could such a beautiful face utter words as venomous as a snake's? I pursed my red lips tightly, gritting my teeth. Mr. Chin, I don't know how to speak. Nor do I understand how to speak properly. If you have any issues, you can talk to my son. Talking to me won't help. I listen to my son, and I absolutely will not marry into a wealthy family. At worst, you can report it. Anyway, my son can handle it. Qin Yunshan smiled again. Do you trust him that much? I have a strange look in my eyes. Isn't that obvious? If it weren't for my lucky son, could I have become a little rich woman? This man must be jealous because he doesn't have such a good son and wants to take him away from me. I immediately grabbed my bag. If there's anything, talk to my son. With that, I dashed back home in a flash. I let out a deep sigh of relief. That evening, I told my son about the situation, feeling extremely worried inside. What if that guy Qin Yunshan really reports us? Can we afford to pay back the money we're making now? My son looked at the screen full of red numbers and yawned. Not enough to cover it. We'd have to pay back at least several hundred million, right? I was so anxious I started pacing back and forth. After checking the stock market, my son started researching other things. I couldn't understand any of it, so I plopped down beside him and resigned myself, saying, if it's all lost, then it's all lost. You're so smart. We can just start over from the beginning. I just don't know if Qin Yunshan will keep pestering us. My son closed his laptop and concluded, he will definitely keep pestering. I slumped even further, my back bending another degree. What do we do now? Could it be that even after your rebirth, you still can't change the outcome? He laughed. It's already changed, Mom. Our lives now are much better than they were in our previous life. Plus, you're not clinging to him like you did in the past, which has already set us on a different path. Do you remember what I said when I was still in your belly? I shook my head. It's been too long. I've long forgotten. He patted the notebook. I placed the notebook on the computer desk and took his little hand to get out of bed. His childish voice said, my dad is a super rich tycoon. He wouldn't care about such a small amount of money at all. I'm a child prodigy now, very smart, and highly valued by both the school and the media. He insisted on recognizing me as part of the Qin family because my return would be of great help to the Qin family. If we report him, wouldn't that go against our original intention? Mom, just live your life normally, ignore him, and treat him like heir. I trust my son completely. Whatever my son says goes. I obediently follow the daily schedule he set for me. I wake up early to take him to school, then go practice dancing. Dancing is beneficial for my physical form. Then I noticed Qin Yunshan had appeared again. He was standing right at the door, staring straight at me. I remembered what my son said, to treat Qin Yunshan as if he were heir. He greeted me, but I ignored him. He spoke to me, and I pretended to be deaf. At noon, when I went to pick up my son from school, he was standing at the door, ringing the doorbell. Finally, I had security escort him away. It was really annoying that he kept ringing the doorbell. After finishing my classes in the afternoon, I went shopping to relieve the fatigue from a day of studying. After shopping for a while, I decided to get a new manicure. I had just sat down when I noticed Qin Yunshan sitting beside me. I rolled my eyes, decided to skip the manicure altogether, and turned to head home. As soon as I closed the door, the world felt incredibly quiet, yet there was always a faint, elusive gaze lingering on me. I quickly got up to check. It would have been better not to look. What I saw was truly horrifying. Qin Yunshan was right there in the neighboring villa. I'm really fed up. In the evening, I couldn't hold back and vented about the situation to my son. My son still said the same thing, treat him like heir. Since my son is in school and Qin Yunshan can't follow him there, he can only come to pester me. She tried to use maternal love to persuade my son to agree to enter the Qin family. Fine then, but I never expected Qin Yunshan to be as elusive as a ghost. He would suddenly appear out of nowhere for no reason. In the third year of being entangled, his expression began to turn strange. At first, he not only followed me but also started giving gifts. All kinds of expensive gifts were showered on me without a second thought. Initially, I was quite reserved. I refused them all. In the evening, my son said he could receive gifts, so I happily accepted them all. Each of these gifts is worth over 10 million. Why not take them when they're offered for free? Now I don't lack money either. And I still take out those gifts to wear from time to time, although I truly don't lack money, after all. It's my son's hard-earned money, so I can't bear to buy expensive gifts, but if it's from Qin Yunshan, then I can bear it. After a few rounds of this, I always feel the atmosphere is a bit strange, especially when Qin Yunshan looked at me. There was an expression in his eyes that I couldn't quite understand. I always felt I was a bit like those girls Qin Yunshin had once pursued, a stand-in for the white moonlight. Once a person develops strange perceptions, they themselves become strange. Although Qin Yunshin was following, he always maintained a sense of propriety. Plus, I'm naturally drawn to good looks, and sometimes I really can't resist the charm of such striking beauty. After having a few drinks with him, I thought, since we've slept together before, doing it again wouldn't be so bad. And so, Qin Yunshin and I ended up doing the unspeakable. Only when I woke up did I clearly realize the magnitude of my sin. I began to tremble with fear. I started avoiding Qin Yunshin. Qin Yunshin wore a deeply hurt expression. Why are you avoiding me? My heart was in turmoil, and I only said, we can't be together. With a sharp thud, I shut the door. On Saturday morning, my son yawned as he got up and, seeing me there, asked in confusion, didn't you go on a date with Qin Yunshin? My heart skipped a beat. What date? There's no such thing. My son said he won't marry into a wealthy family. And I absolutely won't marry into a wealthy family either. The son smiled. Mom, you're still keeping it from me. I know you've fallen for Qin Yunshin. If you want to go on a date, just go ahead. Just dating doesn't mean you have to marry into a wealthy family. That makes a bit of sense, especially since my son said so himself. My heart once again stirred with a shameful restlessness. However, why does it always feel a bit off? My son pushed me out. Go on, I still have things to do here. Don't disturb me while you're out on your date. Don't worry, Mom. Your date with Qin Yunshin won't affect me. Whether we can return to the wealthy family isn't something your date can decide. Hearing this, I went on my date with Qin Yunshin with a clear conscience. Adult dating is, of course, a collision of hormones. It's just that this face is too tempting to resist. Plus, the experience from sleeping together once before was too wonderful. It's been on my mind ever since. With my son's encouragement, I dragged him straight to the hotel. We had a wild time on the hotel bed for 3 days and 3 nights. Just seeing him made me want to devour him fiercely. Qin Yunshin was also incredibly capable, providing excellent service every time. Although there are nannies and nutritionists at home, it's really not appropriate to not go back for 3 days. I washed up and decided to go home for a while. Qin Yunshin wrapped his long arm around me, his eyes blazing with anger. I'll go with you later. I returned home feeling sore and exhausted, only to find the house unusually lively. 2 dignified and elegant elderly people had arrived. One of them even called my son, grandson. The topics they were discussing were far too profound for me to understand, but having 2 extra people in the house set off alarm bells in my mind. Who are you? Why are you in my home? My son paused, and I caught a flicker of guilt in his eyes. Mom, what are you doing back? Aren't you supposed to be out on a few more dates? I quickened my pace and hurriedly stepped in front of my son. What do you think you're doing? Trying to take by force? My son peeked out with his little head. Not exactly to that extent. Qin Yunshin nodded to the 2 elderly people. Dad, Mom, I took a look. The 2 elderly people did bear some resemblance to Qin Yunshin, especially the man, who seemed to share the same face as Qin Yunshin and my son. My heart sank as I saw Qin Yunshin's expression darken. You've been pestering me just so your parents could get close to my son, I thought. My heart ached fiercely. Seeing my emotions growing more intense, Qin Yunshin quickly said, Zhao Zhao, calm down. It's really not what you think. I genuinely want to be with you. I glared coldly. Nonsense. Don't think I'm a fool. You just see how clever my son is and want to use him. No one can force my son. If you dare try, we'll go down together. Qin Yunshin panicked. My son tugged at me. Mom, calm down. I calmed down and looked at him in confusion. Son, he patted me reassuringly. Mom, it's okay. I invited Grandpa and Grandma over. They didn't force me. I wanted to get close to them. To enter the Qin family on my own initiative, I crouched down. Speaking cautiously, son, tell me the truth. Did they threaten you using me? Don't worry. I'd rather end my own life than let them affect you. No one is more important than you. His son's eyes were red, deeply moved. He smiled and said, really, no one is threatening me. All those things from your past life were just a facade. In truth, you entered the wealthy family and lived quite well, and Qin Yunshin was very fond of you. Dad's first love has always been you. But you never knew it. After entering the wealthy family, you became deeply unhappy, always feeling inadequate and trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. In the end, you heard hallucinations and jumped to your death. In his previous life, Dad never remarried. I was completely stunned. I don't understand what's happening right now. Qin Yunshin held me tightly, his eyes reddening again and again. Honey, I've also been reborn. You might not remember me, but I truly, truly love you. Do you remember that time you picked up the necklace? I couldn't hold back that day and wanted to see you, but you bit me and ran off. Later, our son told me I wasn't allowed to get close to you. I can finally stand before you with a clear conscience. My brain short-circuited, still trying to make sense of the current situation. This means both father and son have been reborn to save me. I looked at them in a daze, pushing Qin Yunshin's body away. Where's your white moonlight? Qin Yunshin gazed at me with deep affection. My white moonlight has always been you, from beginning to end. It took me a long time to understand after the explanation, after their rebirth. He could also hear their son's inner thoughts. After hearing them, he would act according to his son's inner thoughts. First, he let me pick up trash to earn money. Those second-hand items sold quickly because Qin Yunshin bought them all back. I suddenly understood, my eyes turning red. So that's why the other party asked for direct bank card payment. According to the software's mechanism, I would at least have to wait until the goods arrived before I could get the money. With money, my confidence would gradually grow. He started striving for excellence right after our son was born, partly because he was naturally intelligent, and partly to help me become better and better, becoming confident, that way, standing beside Qin Yunshin. I wouldn't constantly be mentally drained by internal struggles. No wonder I always felt our son's way of speaking was a bit odd. It's just like pushing me towards Qin Yunshin, but I can't quite put it into words. Plus, Qin Yunshin is also very well behaved, suddenly starting to show kindness. So that's how it was. It turns out both father and son are reborn, with the goal of saving me, who, in my previous life, ended my own life due to being overly sensitive and fragile. I held them and cried out loud. I felt relieved in my heart that the painful past life my son mentioned had never happened, and I was also happy that I could meet this father and son who loved me. After the misunderstanding was cleared up, I happily moved into the Qin family's villa. Every day is still about eating, drinking, and having fun. The only difference is that, because I'm intoxicated by Qin Yunshin's stunning beauty, I often drag him over for a good workout. As for my son, he went to study with his grandfather. He was already intelligent, and he had the memories of his previous life. According to Qin Yunshin, in this life, their son's achievements were even more remarkable than in the previous one. His future prospects are boundless. Let me indulge deeply in his tender embrace. I shyly clenched my fist and gave him a playful punch. He wrapped his arms around me and kissed me tenderly. Xiao Xiao, it's so good to see you again. I love you. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. I am the foolish, gold-digging, pretentious, and self-destructive female supporting character in the novel. Just before the grand finale, I went to the female lead, the White Moonlight, to ask for a breakup fee, only to be thrown into the sea and fed to the fish. Just when everyone thought the story should end after the male and female leads got married, my daughter, carrying my will, knocked on the door of the domineering CEO's house. Mom said when Yao Yao is about to starve to death, come find Dad, but don't disturb him at any other time. Uncle, are you my dad? Mom isn't coming home. Yao Yao has no food to eat. Yao Yao is about to starve to death. The soul drifted in the air. Watching the domineering CEO face the little face that looked so much like his own, the fleeting heartache and closeness after the days, I knew I had bet right. White Moonlight heroine, are you ready to face your retribution? Uncle, it's okay if you don't want to be Yao Yao's dad. Yao Yao just wants a glass of water. Okay, Yao Yao is only 4 years old. Yao Yao doesn't drink much. Yao Yao is really going to starve to death. My daughter, following the instructions in my will, carefully and pitifully asking for a glass of water. This clever little thing even knows how to use puppy dog eyes to target the tycoon's soft spot. The pitiful gaze strikes right at the tycoon's heart, making his voice soften involuntarily. Good child, come in quickly, you must be starving, right? He gently picked up his daughter and placed her on his lap, then instructed the butler, prepare a table of dishes, make them light, soft, and easy to digest for the child. With that, he opened a bottle of expensive iceberg snow water and brought it to his daughter's lips. Thirsty? Have some water. The daughter cautiously glanced at the White Moonlight female lead standing beside her, then looked hesitantly at the domineering CEO. Her words caught in her throat. Speak exactly as my will states, Uncle. Yao Yao can just drink tap water. This looks very expensive. Mom said we shouldn't accept such expensive things from others. Before Lin Qingyu could say anything, sure enough, Shangguan Shui beside me couldn't hold back any longer, her tone turning sharp as she said, "How dare your mother say such a thing? She's nothing but a gold digger who only wants the most expensive things." My daughter's body shrank back violently, the little head buried itself in my chest, muffling its voice as it said, "Mommy is not that kind of bad person." Then, as instructed in my will, it spoke with a restrained sob in its voice, "Yao Yao doesn't want Mommy to be talked about like this. Yao Yao will leave right now." Mom said, "It's better to starve to death than to be insulted." With that, she fluttered her two short little legs, ready to jump down from Lin Qingyu's lap. Lin Qingyu firmly held her daughter's body, pulling her closer into her arms, and said coldly to Shangguan Shui, "Do you think it's appropriate to say such things in front of a child? You know to feed stray cats and dogs when you see them, let alone a living, breathing child." Not only was Shangguan Shui stunned, but even I, floating in the air, was left speechless. This was the one Lin Qingyu had been pining for half his life, his unattainable first love. During the time she was abroad, Lin Qingyu had been utterly despondent for 3 whole years, having searched for countless substitutes, yet still unable to let go of the lingering regret. Now, unexpectedly, because of the little baby in my arms, I have for the first time been harsh towards Shangguan Shui. I suddenly feel that not only did I bet correctly, but I even underestimated the power of blood ties. Through the air, I gently touched my daughter, who remained completely unaware. I can't contain the wild joy inside me. "My precious daughter, your good days are about to come, are you?" Shangguan Shui exclaimed in shock and anger. "You don't even know if she's your child. Yet you're already favoring her like this. Who knows if she's that unclean woman's bastard child with someone else? Don't tell me you've been fooled by her again." Just then, Lin Qingyu made a call to the paternity testing center, arranged for an on-site paternity test, then picked up his daughter and walked towards the dining table, dropping a sentence without a trace of emotion. "She looks so much like me. I know she's my daughter even without the test." Xiao Xue, your cold-bloodedness today has left me somewhat disappointed. Shangguan Shui's expression froze on her face, stammering and unsure of what to say. She could only watch the backs of the father and daughter, stomping her foot in resentment. "I've lived for so long, and just recently died. This is the first time I've seen Shangguan Shui get the short end of the stick. In my lifetime, I served by Lin Qingyu's side for many years. I know his temperament and character best." Thus, the will left to his daughter was entirely composed of Lin Qingyu's vulnerabilities. Just like now, even though she was dizzy with hunger, she dared not indulge heartily at the dining table. She ate whatever Lin Qingyu served her. If she didn't pick up any dishes, she would only dare to swallow plain rice, because I had specifically written in my will, in bold and enlarged letters, "Dad likes polite and obedient little girls." Throughout the entire meal, Lin Qingyu's attitude toward Yao Yao was so gentle it was almost unbelievable, even making Shangguan Shui, who was sitting on the other side of the dining table, slam her chopsticks in displeasure. However, after the meal, when Yao Yao got down from the table, her behavior was somewhat unusual. Her pockets were bulging, and she kept her little hands tightly pressed against them, her body slightly hunched over, as if desperately trying to hide something. Even I couldn't see why Yao Yao was acting this way. When I heard Shangguan Shui's firm and sharp voice, "What are you doing? Stealing as soon as you arrive, just like your gold-digging mother, as expected, always coveting what belongs to others." With that, Shangguan Shui strode over to Yao Yao, grabbed her hand, and ordered the butler to search her. Yao Yao's hands were pinned behind her back, grimacing in pain. I was pacing anxiously nearby, watching my daughter's little face flush red with pain, yet utterly helpless. "Daddy, it hurts. Yao Yao didn't steal anything. Can you please tell the aunt not to hold me so tight? Yao Yao really hurts." Shangguan Shui shook her daughter's body angrily and said, "Stop calling him Dad all the time here. The paternity test results aren't even out yet. Besides, if you didn't steal anything, then what's hidden in your pocket?" The daughter shamefully kept her mouth tightly shut, her pleading gaze fixed on Lin Qingyu. Yet Lin Qingyu also raised a skeptical eyebrow as he looked at Yao Yao, seeming quite displeased with her act of hiding something in her pocket. "If you have something, just take it out obediently. Children should be honest, or they'll learn bad habits when they grow up." After a long pause, his tone turned somewhat sarcastic. "Just like your mother, always chasing profit and obsessed with vanity." I stood by, seething with anger. Lin Qingyu was always like this, whenever his beloved was around. He indiscriminately listened to only one side of the story. From afar, I heard my father say this, so I no longer sought help, stubbornly biting my lower lip and refusing to say a word, allowing the butler to search me. The butler pulled out greasy pork ribs and chicken wings from Yao Yao's pocket, spreading them out before Lin Qingyu, leaving everyone in the room utterly bewildered. Yao Yao, why did you put food in your pocket? Lin Qingyu finally softened her tone, crouching down to ask Yao Yao. Tears welled up in Yao Yao's eyes, as if having suffered the greatest injustice. With a voice choked with tears, Moms will said that Dad has already married another aunt and will have his own children in the future, so Yao Yao can't trouble Dad for too long. But Yao Yao is so scared that she won't be able to eat such delicious food again in the future, so I wanted to take just a little bit of meat with me. Dad, Yao Yao was wrong. Yao Yao shouldn't have taken something that doesn't belong to her. Yao Yao will leave now. Dad, please don't hate Yao Yao. Okay. The entire villa was so quiet that you could hear a pin drop. Everyone cast disapproving glances at Shengguan Shui. Even Lin Qingyu glanced at Shengguan Shui with a hint of dissatisfaction, then immediately picked up his daughter and said softly, how could you never eat it again? Yao Yao will be living with Daddy. Daddy will have someone make it for you every day from now on. Okay. Yao Yao, with tears welling up in her eyes, cautiously glanced at Shengguan Shui. No one will have any objections. Yao Yao, you can stay here with peace of mind. Lin Qingyu, with a rare firmness in his attitude, subtly warned Shengguan Shui. Xiao Shui, you won't have any objections, right? I saw Shengguan Shui force a smile that was uglier than crying. Of course. I cast an admiring glance at Yao Yao. Unable to contain my immense pride. Truly, my daughter, your skills are truly remarkable. I thought it would take several rounds of persuasion to move in, but Yao Yao managed to defeat the enemy in a single move. Dad, do you like Mom? In the evening, when Lin Qingyu was telling a story to lull Yao Yao to sleep, Yao Yao, half asleep, tugged at the corner of Lin Qingyu's clothes and asked groggily, only to hear Lin Qingyu snort coldly, like, humph. I'm nothing but disappointed in her, your mother. Yao Yao, just remember, you must not be as greedy as your mother, otherwise, even if someone truly cares for you, they will eventually leave you. I drifted nearby, and even without a physical body, I felt as if I had been struck on the head with a heavy blow. My heart felt heavy, and my nose tingled with a sour ache. Yao Yao let out an almost imperceptible sigh. Mom also said she was too greedy, falling in love with someone she shouldn't have. Lin Qingyu's eyes trembled fiercely for a moment, staring at Yao Yao, before finally speaking coldly after a long pause. Yao Yao, your mother only loves money, she doesn't love anyone. The wandering spirit floating beside the father and daughter trembled at that moment. I had considered that Lin Qingyu might not like me, but I never imagined he would despise me so much. Daddy, what is money? Is it what those very fierce uncles want when they come to my house every day to smash the door? Lin Qingyu instantly straightened his back, his eyes wide open, seemingly somewhat shocked. Smash the door? Yao Yao, what are you talking about? Yao Yao was already sound asleep, leaving Lin Qingyu alone to ponder in the darkness. Lin Qingyu tiptoed out of the bedroom, quietly summoned his assistant, Lin, and instructed him to investigate all my bank accounts and whereabouts from before my death. In the darkness, he gazed at the distant door, and uttered a sentence so faint it was almost inaudible. Su Qingyan, how many more secrets are you still hiding from me? Inside the room, Yao Yao opened her bright, sparkling eyes wide, looking at the moon outside the window. She said, Mom, did Yao Yao do the right thing? Mom, Yao Yao misses you so much. My heart ached with a sharp, throbbing pain. She is still so young. If it weren't for Shengguan Shui leaving me no way out, how could I have dragged my daughter into this mess? The next day, Assistant Lin uncovered the massive gambling debts I had incurred before my death, which were actually my brother's debts from the casino. He wrote my name on the IOU, and then he vanished. After that, those creditors harassed me every single day, smashing my home until there wasn't a single piece of furniture left worth looking at. Why did she never tell me about any of this? Don't I give her a large sum of money every month? How can she still be living like this? How much money does it take to fill this bottomless pit of hers? In the end, it's just her greed. She even goes gambling. Lin Qingyu roared in fury. I only heard Yao Yao weakly saying from the side, Daddy, this is Uncle's debt. Uncle disappeared, so Mommy has to pay it back. Daddy, Mommy is very, very poor, but she's trying hard to pay it back. Please don't be angry with her, okay? Lin Qingyu widened his eyes in shock, his voice rising an octave. Very poor. I have someone send her over 500,000 yuan in living expenses every month. She even asks me for 2 or 3,000 from time to time, and even schemes the difference from the grocery money meant for the servants. How could she possibly be short of money? As he spoke, as if he had thought of something, his expression turned gloomy. Could it be that she's keeping some shady man on the side? Fine, this gold-digging, foolish woman, starving me and her own daughter, while keeping some shady men on the outside. That gambling debt might not even be her brother's. With that, he slammed the table with a bang. Fuming, he paced back and forth by the window, hands clasped behind his back, breathing heavily. Just then, Assistant Lin cautiously spoke up. President Lin, all of Miss Su's accounts show no large transfers exceeding 5,000 yuan. Where did you transfer the money to? Lin Qingyu's body stiffened, speaking with a mix of confusion and impatience. How is that possible? Ever since Xiaoxue came back, I've had her transfer 500,000 to Su Qingyan every month. At that moment, Lin Qingyu suddenly fell silent, as if she had figured something out, her gaze icy and terrifying. Yao Yao spoke up at that moment. Dad, I remember that day Mom went out after receiving a call from someone called Aunt Xiaoxue, and then Mom never came home again. They all say Mom jumped into the sea. But Mom was afraid of water. How could she go swimming in the sea? Lin Qingyu's face darkened completely as he coldly instructed Assistant Lin to go and invite Shengguan Shui. At that moment, the director of the appraisal center called, congratulating Lin Qingyu on having a biological daughter. Lin Qingyu's tense expression finally softened a little, as she picked up Yao Yao and gave her a kiss. However, Shengguan Shui rushed in with a document in hand, and said to Yao Yao with a smug and malicious tone, the paternity test results are out. You little bastard aren't even Yu's daughter. Assistant Lin, get this filthy child out of here right now. She completely failed to notice Lin Qingyu's livid expression, and the awkward look on Assistant Lin's face. Is that so, Xiaoxue? This is Lin Qingyu's signal of anger. Yao Yao is the precious treasure I carried for 10 months and gave birth to with great effort. I have only had Lin Qingyu as my man in this lifetime. How could she not be his child? Before her eyes, Yao Yao was forcibly lifted up by the people brought by Shengguan Shui. Shengguan Shui slapped the documents onto Yao Yao's face with a sharp crack. I knew it. How could you possibly have a child with that lowly woman? You beggar must have been incited by that gold digger to ruin our wedding. Disgusting woman. Even after being thrown into the sea, you still won't settle down. Someone take this little beggar and throw her at the orphanage gate. Let her fend for herself. At that moment, Lin Qingyu keenly caught the loophole in Shengguan Shui's words, and shot a sharp glance at her as he asked, what does it mean to be thrown into the sea? Didn't you tell me that Su Qingyan committed suicide by jumping into the sea? At that very moment, Lin Qingyu's father, the richest man in City A, pushed the door open with a hearty laugh. You. Old Liang from the appraisal center called me and said I have a little granddaughter. Great, that's wonderful. Your mother and I were both worried that you might have oligospermia, and we didn't know what to do about having children in the future. Quick, let me see my precious granddaughter. Lin Qingyu's anger shot out from the depths of his eyes. He stared fixedly at Shengguan Shui, who was holding the appraisal results in front of him, his gaze as if it could burn her to ashes. I just got the call too, and I've already thanked Uncle Liang. Lin Qingyu gritted his teeth and asked, Shengguan Shui, where did you get the appraisal results in your hand? Shengguan Shui's expression instantly turned panicked. She dismissed the person who had brought her there. I was in a hurry for the results, so I asked my classmate to expedite it. Maybe there's been a mistake. As she spoke, Shengguan Shui quickly hid the document folder behind her back. Lin Qingyu's mother, an elegant and dignified lady, instantly switched to a sweet, high-pitched voice upon seeing Yao Yao. Old Lin, come quick and look at our granddaughter. It's exactly like when you used to dress up in girls' clothes as a child. Come here, child, let grandma give you a hug. My heart was in my throat. I've seen the many obstacles set by Lin Qingyu's mother firsthand. Her face is always gentle, her demeanor always kind, yet deep down, she coldly scrutinizes everything, watching Yao Yao, completely unsuspecting, about to throw herself forward. I wish I could shove the will right in her face and make her review it thoroughly. Only the sound of Yao Yao's tender little hand holding the lady's hand could be heard, as she smiled sweetly. Grandma, Yao Yao is very heavy. Grandma will get tired from carrying me. When Yao Yao grows up, I'll carry Grandma on my back. Okay. I watched helplessly as the once haughty and arrogant lady who had stood before me, it was as if the ice in her eyes had melted, turning warm and soft, even shedding a tear. She pulled Yao Yao into her arms, pressing her face tightly against Yao Yao's little belly, and kept murmuring, "What a good child, such a good child." I was completely stunned on the side, watching Yao Yao remain calm and composed. Even giving Sheng Guanshui a slight, smug eyebrow raise, I suddenly began to wonder if I might have given birth to a little prodigy. "Mom, she's just a bastard child. If you treat her so kindly, how will you ever face your legitimate grandson when he's born?" On the other hand, Sheng Guanshui, provoked by Yao Yao, blurted out without thinking, "I'm telling you, if you dare let that bastard through the door, I'll divorce Lin Qingyu." Sheng Guanshui held her head high, looking utterly arrogant. She still seemed to believe she was the same white moonlight who had Lin Qingyu wrapped around her finger, not at all noticing Lin Qingyu's tightly clenched fists at this moment, nor the flicker of ruthlessness in the eyes of the billionaire couple. "Have you made up your mind? You want a divorce?" Not only did Lin Qingyu not show the panic she had imagined, instead, he looked at her with a cold, direct gaze, his expression inscrutable. Sheng Guanshui quickly realized something was off and immediately changed her tone. "If you don't want a divorce, then transfer all your assets to my name. Then I'll agree to let this illegitimate daughter enter the family. Otherwise, don't even think about me giving your Lin family a proper grandson. Lin Qingyu, you know you have oligospermia, and I happen to be highly fertile. If I'm unwilling, you can forget about having any children for the rest of your life." As she spoke, it seemed she felt the initiative had returned to her hands once more, gradually becoming relaxed and arrogant, with arms crossed in front of the chest, silently locking eyes with Lin Qingyu. "Sheng Guanshui, you've embezzled so much of my money and still want all the assets. I'm a bit confused now. Between you and Su Qingyan, who is the real gold digger?" Sheng Guanshui's expression instantly turned flustered, yet she still tried to cover it up. What embezzlement, Au? What are you talking about? I don't understand. How dare you compare me to that gold-digging bitch? What do you mean?" Sheng Guanshui, flushed with anger and embarrassment, sprang to her feet and headed for the door, but out of the corner of her eye, she saw Lin Qingyu sitting firmly in his chair, with no intention whatsoever of getting up to chase after her. She stood still again, unnaturally, hugging her arms with a guilty conscience. "Xiaoxue, I'm asking you one last time, did you send that money to Su Qingyan on time?" I did." "Au, what do you mean by that? We're both married, and you still suspect me over some dead bitch. Do you really not want this marriage anymore?" Sheng Guanshui resorted to her old tricks again, trying to cover up the truth with her unreasonable tantrums, but Lin Qingyu was no longer fooled. He immediately instructed Assistant Lin to investigate Sheng Guanshui's account. Within minutes, several transaction statements were placed before Lin Qingyu. He clenched his fists, trembling violently with rage. Finally, unable to contain his anger, he slammed the desk hard. "Sheng Guanshui, you transferred all the living expenses I gave Su Qingyan every month into your own account. Are you treating me like a dog to play with?" Sheng Guanshui didn't bother pretending anymore and retorted righteously, "That's right. I didn't give it to her. We were already engaged. Your money is my money. Why should I give money to some random woman?" "Lin Qingyu, don't you think you're being a bit too greedy? Isn't having me enough? You still want to string along other women?" Lin Qingyu and the billionaire couple had never been subjected to such humiliation before. At this moment, the three of them trembled with rage, yet their upbringing prevented them from uttering a single word. Yao Yao's eyes darted around, and she said in a sweet, childish voice, "I remember now. When Mom took me to deliver takeout, I saw Aunt Xiaoxue. Huh, that's so strange. The naked uncle next to Auntie back then wasn't Daddy." As she spoke, she seemed to remember something and quickly covered her mouth. "Oh no, Moms will said we must never mention this matter." The atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. Even I, floating in the air, couldn't help but hold my breath. Yet deep down, I felt so exhilarated that I was at a loss for words. My precious daughter. She really knows how to play the game. I made it clear in my will that this matter must be revealed at the right moment. Yao Yao just said it with sparkling eyes. Her method is countless times more clever than what I taught. Ah! Sheng Guanshui couldn't stop screaming. She lunged forward, trying to strangle Yao Yao, gnashing her teeth. She cursed, "You little bitch, how dare you slander me? I'll strangle you to death." Slap, a crisp slap echoed through the air. It was Lin Qingyu's mother who had struck. Yao Yao turned and threw herself into the arms of the wealthiest man present. The elegant lady gracefully clapped her hands, and said to Lin Qingyu, "Son, we have never interfered in your affairs, but today, I can't help myself. There are some things you should know now. With that, she pulled a document folder from her bag and tossed it in front of Lin Qingyu. Inside the folder, a corner of a photograph peeked out. And when Sheng Guanshui caught sight of it, her face turned pale with shock. He lunged forward to snatch it away, but was firmly restrained by assistant Lin. Lin Qingyu took the file bag and flipped through the photos inside, his expression growing darker with each one. Without even looking, I knew it was Sheng Guanshui's dark history from her years abroad, back when I was delivering takeout. I happened to see Sheng Guanshui with a foreigner, which made me suspicious, so I mobilized all my resources to investigate Sheng Guanshui. After a great deal of effort, all I managed to uncover was that Sheng Guanshui had undergone several abortions. At that time, I only had 2 yuan left in my bank card, and Yao Yao was so hungry that she could only drink tap water, and I haven't been in touch with Lin Qingyu for a long time, so I mustered up the courage to ask Sheng Guanshui out. Hoping she would buy the clues I had with money, who would have thought she would throw me into the sea to destroy the evidence and cover up the crime. Fortunately, I had the foresight before heading out to the meeting, and sent a backup of the evidence in my possession to the billionaire's family by express delivery. The resources at a wealthy woman's disposal are truly more formidable than those of ordinary people, revealing all the men she had been with and how many times she had been pregnant. Every explicit photo taken with those foreigners has been thoroughly investigated. Fertile physique. Lin Qingyu's hands trembled with anger, unable to hold on to the document folder. Having been pregnant so many times, you really are fertile. No wonder you kept refusing my visits, saying that seeing me would make you want to come back home. It was all a lie, wasn't it? Sheng Guanshui, do you think it's fun to play with me? Lin Qingyu's eyes were red with anger at this moment, her lips trembling as she gasped and questioned furiously. Just as Sheng Guanshui was about to open her mouth to defend herself, the noblewoman threw out another stack of documents. Originally, you married into the family and were supposed to live a peaceful life. I could have let you go for a you's sake, but you actually set your sights on our company. The document clearly showed Sheng Guanshui transferring assets and selling off the Lin family's antiques. Even evidence of transferring company funds from Lin Qingyu's company. I came today not just to see my granddaughter. You must divorce this troublemaker. The noblewoman spoke coldly, issuing an ultimatum. Lin Qingyu's hand clutching the document bag was trembling like a sieve. He stared fixedly at Sheng Guanshui. By then, that person had long lost the arrogance of the past in a state of panic. She looked at Lin Qingyu with a pitiful expression, eyes filled with remorse. You. Since I married you, it means I love you. You. I was wrong. Please forgive me. Okay, I'll turn over a new leaf from now on. Let's have a child and live a good life together. Okay, I'll never be foolish again. Yao Yao suddenly jumped out of the arms of the richest man, and ran off with quick, light steps. In no time, she returned with a pink envelope, struggling to lift it high, wanting to hand it to Lin Qingyu. Upon seeing the envelope, Sheng Guanshui struggled with great effort to get up. While struggling, she also roared and cursed. You little brat, that's my thing. How did that dead mother of yours teach you? How dare you go through my things without permission? Give it back. Yao Yao blinked her eyes innocently. Auntie, weren't you apologizing to Dad? I saw you writing for a long time last night, smiling as you wrote. Isn't this meant for Dad? Lin Qingyu's face turned ashen as he opened the envelope. The more he read, the more violently his body trembled. I drifted closer and took a brief glance. My face instantly flushed red. Even feeling somewhat feverish, the explicit profanity was too much to bear, and it was written to a foreigner named Eric, and it even mentioned that once Sheng Guanshui had raised enough money here, she would elope with him. Slap, a glass shattered on the floor as Lin Qingyu completely lost control, letting out a furious roar. Sheng Guanshui, you wretched woman. With that, she pounced and straddled her. The billionaire couple covered Yao Yao's eyes and led her out, and upon leaving, they thoughtfully locked the door from the outside. They said to Yao Yao, don't be afraid, Yao Yao, Dad just needs to vent his anger, and then he'll be fine. This aunt won't bully you anymore. Yao Yao, can you feel at ease and stay with Dad from now on? She just lowered her head in a distant, lost manner, and even squeezed out a few tears. If only Mom were here too. Grandma, Grandpa. If only Aunt Xiaoxua hadn't called Mom out that day. Will Mom no longer go swimming in the sea? Sure enough, the whole family was only concerned with their own affairs, completely forgetting the suspicious circumstances of my death. It was only when Yao Yao brought it up that the billionaire couple finally realized. Send someone to investigate the cause of my death. They found a surveillance camera at the entrance of a villa not far from the seaside, which clearly recorded how I was knocked unconscious by Shengguan Shui and her foreign boyfriend and thrown into the sea. The soul seems much lighter now. Looking down, I found myself becoming even more transparent. My obsession has been resolved, and my daughter has found a good home. It seems I should go now. When Lin Qingyu saw the surveillance footage, tears welled up in his eyes instantly. Yao Yao thoughtfully took a handkerchief from her pocket, gently wiping them for him, and said as she wiped, "Daddy, don't cry. Mommy said she loves seeing you smile the most." I floated nearby, giving my daughter a thumbs up. This girl has already mastered my green tea skills to perfection. Now she can even tell lies with her eyes wide open. Lin Qingyu forced a smile that was uglier than crying. "Yao Yao, don't worry. Daddy will definitely avenge Mommy." "Okay." Just then, Assistant Lin ran over and said to Lin Qingyu, "Shengguan Shui refuses to sign the divorce papers," she said. "Yao Yao has already lost one mother. She can't lose another. She wants to go home and live a peaceful life as a family of three." Lin Qingyu showed not a trace of emotion, remained silent for a long moment, then suddenly said, "All right, then sign for bail." I was about to burst out in anger, ready to call Lin Qingyu a shameless, love-struck fool, when I saw him open his phone and order a massive dog crate. Suddenly, I began to sense something. Although Lin Qingyu was an upright person, he was truly vindictive, never forgetting the slightest grievance and always seeking revenge. Sure enough, on the very first day Shengguan Shui returned to the Lin family villa, she was locked in a dog cage. All she could see was Lin Qingyu crouching beside the cage. His expression was dark and inscrutable, his tone sinister as he said, "You don't want to go to prison. Very well, I'll personally craft a cage for you." With that, he gave the order to strip Shengguan Shui naked. She was submerged into the bathtub not far away, and only when she was nearly suffocating was she leisurely pulled out, and after catching her breath, she was shoved into the icy water. Ah you, please, spare me, it's so cold, I'm terrified," Shengguan Shui pleaded desperately, clutching Lin Qingyu's pant leg tightly. "When you threw Su Qingyan into the sea, did you ever think she was cold too, that she was terrified too? You killed the woman who truly cared for me, you killed my daughter's mother. I suddenly feel that simply sending you to prison is letting you off too easily." With that, he hung her from the roof beam, whip in hand, with a large bucket of chilly water by his side. Shengguan Shui's eyes instantly widened, and her screams echoed one after another. I hurriedly floated upstairs and saw Yao Yao sitting in the lady's arms, wearing headphones and diligently studying English. I let out a long sigh of relief, when suddenly the whole world spun around me, and a powerful force seemed to be trying to pull me away. I know, it's time for me to disappear. I leaned in and kissed Yao Yao's soft, tender little cheek. Yao Yao seemed to sense it. Suddenly, she looked up and called out in a daze. "Mom," she said, staring fixedly in the direction where I disappeared. After a long while, the noblewoman asked with some confusion, "Yao Yao, what did you say?" She just shook her head from afar, and raised a sweet smile to say to her, "Mom gave me a kiss. I miss her so much." After hearing the two stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.